might seem crazy what I'm about to say. Sunshine, she's here, you can take a break. I'm a hot air balloon that could go to space. With the air, like I don't care, baby, by the way. Because I'm happy, clap along.
To gain a thorough understanding of your client, you should follow these 3 best practices. Always talk to the account executive or sales team before working with the client. They know the client the best at that point and can offer a lot of insight. Next, always check out the client's website before working with them. That way, when you do talk to the client for the first time, you have some understanding of what they're doing and what they're looking for. And lastly, simply ask the client about themselves and really listen to the answers. If you follow these 3 best practices, you'll gain a thorough understanding of your client.
One of our 5-star standards is to try to understand the customer and build a rapport. So what I try to do is find something that we have in common, whether it be something that the organization does or a location that I've been to or lived in or something that we have in common, to just try to have a talking point so that we can come back to anything that you can use to kind of build a connection with that client to fall back on in case they have issues later on. You can come back to an understanding or something that you have in common. It kind of makes them feel more comfortable with you throughout their project.
So I'm going to talk about how to gain a better understanding of your customer. With the customizations we work on, one of the important things I do is always have a discovery call. Even though by the time it gets to me, they've probably talked to about 4 people, I still, since I'm going to be the one delivering the work, I want to make sure I know exactly where they're coming from, exactly what the client wants, and what the whole reason behind this is. A lot of times you'll find that there's even tweaks where something didn't come across in the scope quite like we wanted. So that's my tip. Make sure you have a discovery call before customization.
One of our 5-star standards is to provide a thorough understanding of the customer. One of the ways that I do that is I always reach out to the AE in order to get an understanding of what the client conversation has been like so far, so that when I speak to the client, I'm already on the same page as them.
One of our 5-star standards is gaining a thorough understanding of our customer. I try to accomplish this by doing as much research about the customer before I contact them, which can include researching Customer Zone, through Maybe, their website to understand a little bit more about their mission, and I like to look through Clarify, Sales Logics, through the account manager's notes, so that when I do contact them, I feel like I know as much about them as possible, so that I can convey a clear message and make sure that the consultant working with them is the best appropriate person.
As part of wowing our customers, it's very important to gain a thorough understanding of our clients. What I do when I get a new client is immediately call the AE, find out who the players are, find out their personalities. I'll Google my client contact, find out about them themselves. I'll reach into Customer Zone, find out caseload, surveys, anything related to products that they might currently have. And then ultimately I hit their website, find out what's going on, any big happenings, big events that I can reference during my first call. Also, while on the website, I'll figure out how they're raising money and how the solution that I'm implementing actually becomes a part of that. So I have leading questions even during the first call with them.
I will always gain a thorough understanding of my customer by figuring out what kind of training best meets their needs and recommending classes.
Hi. In order to gain a thorough understanding of my customers' needs, what I do is practice active listening. So listen to the customer, hear what they're saying, and then repeat it back to them in my own words to make sure that we're both on the same page and everybody understands what we're trying to accomplish.
Feel like a room without a roof, 'cause I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth.
I deliver 5-star service by exceeding the customer's expectations, by sending them information about hotels when they call and interested in a regional training class. I always send them the information as well as hotel accommodations.
The way that I go about setting expectations for customers is on every call is I share my screen and have an agenda saying where we are within the process, and it shows progress as we go down through the different sort of stages through that process. It shows where we've been, where we're going, and it just gets everyone on the same page on every single call that I do. And I call out any things that I know might be a problem coming down the line, just make sure that they're ready to handle it and set their expectations where they should be, so then I can exceed them.
To always set clear expectations with your client, you should follow these 3 tips. First, try to use a project plan if possible and walk the client through step by step. A step that might be intuitive to you might not be to them, and that will give them the opportunity to ask the questions up front. Next, try to get them on the phone at least once to go over the project plan. Email is great, but it's always better to have that first initial phone call. And lastly, be honest about the resources and the timeline. Don't try to sugarcoat something in the beginning to make it sound better. That will only leave surprises for the client later. It would be better to set the expectation up front, and if there is a problem, to try to work it out with them. But don't ever try to sugarcoat it in the beginning and then surprise them later at the end. Those are just some tricks to set clear expectations with your client.
If you know what happiness is to you, because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like that's what you.
I strive to deliver quality work that aligns with my customers' desired outcomes. I do this by trying to set expectations on an initial call with them, aligning the project to work with their schedule, and then to stay on schedule, I try to follow up with them by emails, phone calls, to make sure that things are moving progressively.
I will take ownership of all customer issues to the point where if they reach training help and they have a problem with another department, maybe they can't get a hold of sales or customer support, I'll talk through that with them and make sure that someone follows up with them and make sure that they have a resource, even if that means me giving them my personal extension.
You always want to deliver quality work that aligns with the client's desired outcomes. Here are a few tricks and tips that have helped me along the way. First, I keep a lot of lists of deadlines that I have to meet for them. It helps me stay organized. I have to remind myself that although I might have 50 or 60 clients, they only have one project coordinator and one project manager. So no matter how busy I am, I have to always strive to deliver that quality work. Next, checking in with them from time to time really goes a long way. Whether it be a short email or a status call, finding out how they feel about the project as it goes will help you and them meet the desired outcomes for the project.
Hi, my name is Jennifer Peters. I'm based out of Dallas, Texas, and I'm here to talk to you about delivering quality work to achieve our customers' desired outcomes. When I start with a project, really this piece, once again, like so many others, it really starts with that kickoff call and talking about our customers' goals and what are those desired outcomes. Does it align with the scope of work? By starting there, we can hopefully determine any roadblocks that we might hit and start tackling those right away. Throughout the project, I let them know how I'm going to be following up with them, whether it's going to be a simple summary email after each call, or if I'll be providing any supplemental material. If the customer feels like they need more of a handheld approach, then I work with them to provide some supplemental documentation. Maybe it's a step-by-step way to help them or help them work with their staff to sort of hold their hand through learning the process and doing those steps that are necessary in their day-to-day activity, or maybe just simply to make them successful. And then once we start within the project, I do check in with their project coordinator on their side to make sure that what we've provided is working for them. And if it's not, if they feel like they need something a little bit different, then we try to come to an agreement in terms of what will make them more successful, what will help them achieve those outcomes, so that by the end of the project, they feel good about moving forward on their own after the implementation. And at the end of the project, I definitely do another check back in to make sure that they have everything that they need to be successful moving forward, whether it's with their strategy piece or their peer-to-peer fundraising, just to make sure that we've hit the nail on the head, so to speak.
One thing that always I find that always helps me when I'm actually beginning a project is to make sure that timelines are actually calculated realistically. All too often, many of the timelines are either tight, unrealistic, or underestimate workload, which all lead to customers, sponsors, and team members being unhappy. The way that I go about making sure that my timeline is accurate is I try to understand the deliverables and what is needed to meet each. I identify critical milestones, I outline order the tasks that are needed to complete those, and during that, as part of those tasks, don't forget to include meetings, reporting, communication, status calls. You want all those various tasks in your timeline.
Hi, so I'm going to talk about how I will gain a thorough understanding of my customer. One thing that we do, a lot of the customizations I focus on. Let me start.
Okay, so I choose. I would always clear. I always.
Let's try.
Oh wait, stop.
2, 3.
As part of wowing our customers with our service, it's really important to understand our clients. So what I do typically when I get a new, wow, that's really too wordy, isn't it?